Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to show you a template that is perfect for young children, particularly for introducing vegetables to young children. This dish, I call it Fusion Sloppy Joes because it has many characteristics of Sloppy Joes, but it uses vegetables in construct the main ingredients. About a couple of years ago, one of my friends, his son-in-law by the name of Jack, which I will use it for this purpose of this story, he came to visit him and his wife. And he came to a cooking class because he's very interested to learn how to cook with the wok. He and his wife live in Texas. They have two young children, age 5 and 7. Now, he works at home because he is a system analyst for a large insurance company, and she is a special ed teacher. So by working at home, he has the opportunity and the time to do home cooking. So he cooked for his two children, but he told me that that was very challenging because his two kids do not like vegetables at all. The only thing they like is spaghetti, hamburger, hot dog. He tried to get them eat more vegetables, but he said he really running out of luck. And he's getting very frustrated. And he asked me, do I have any idea of how to introduce more vegetables to their diet? So I created the following template for him. It actually based on a dish that I had a lot when I was a child. And this is also a dish used when I was growing up for my family to introduce vegetables to me. The template actually is quite simple, and it can be cooked in less than 10 minutes from scratch using all fresh ingredients. And the beauty of this template is that you can do a lot of substitutions, and consequently, you can introduce different vegetables to children. Okay, let's get going, and I will explain how I cook this dish along the way. Now, I have not cooked this dish for quite a while, so I will demonstrate to you how I make adjustment along the way, and this is why I make stir fry such a excellent technique. I'm going to use my 14-inch stainless steel cuisine art wok, and before I start, I'm going to heat up the wok, and I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of cooking oil, just enough to cover the bottom of the wok. And then I use my spot seasoning method to season the wok by let the oil to heat up until it is gradually, slowly to start to smoke. And I let it to smoke for about 15 seconds. This is the time when the wok is being seasoned. I start by sauteing about 1 cup of chopped onions. Now, you can use more or less onion as you prefer. If you like onion, then you can use some more. So, and then I add about 6 ounces of chopped hamburger meat. I use my wok spatula to mix the hamburger meat with the onion and stir fry it until the meat about 90% done. Now again, you can stir fry it a bit less or longer. It really doesn't matter. In this dish, the meat mainly serves as a condiment. In fact, this small amount of meat usually will satisfy for people who like to have meat in their dishes. However, if you want this dish to be a vegetarian dish, you can simply omit the meat. The next ingredient I'm going to add is some diced green beans. Now, I cut them up into relatively small pieces because they will blend into the dish. And so when the children eat it, they actually will not notice the presence of the green bean. I add the green bean early in the process because they take a little bit of time to cook. However, by cutting them to this small size, it guarantees that they will be cooked properly by the end of the cooking process. After stir frying the green bean for about 30 to 40 seconds, I'm going to add tomatoes. I dice the tomatoes though so that they can blend into the dish much better. Now this dish, tomato is the star attraction, and I use quite a bit of tomatoes. So I add about 2 cups of tomato in the beginning, just to make sure that I do not want the dish to have too strong and acidic flavor. So I did a taste test to make sure that the amount of tomato that I have added meet the kind of flavor expectation that I have. After I did the taste test, I decided that I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of garlic to the dish because I think the garlic will enhance the flavor of the dish. I call this flavor chasing, which is an important attribute of my fast cooking system. If you're not familiar with my fast cooking system, you can take a look at this video. At this time point, I also decided that I could use a little bit more tomatoes. So I add the remaining tomatoes into the dish. Now, all these tomatoes come from my wife's vegetable garden. If you have a vegetable garden with tomatoes, this is probably one of the best way to use your tomatoes. I did a taste test for the second time, and I like the taste so far. But we are still in the process of constructing the flavor of this dish. So the next I'm going to add is some sweet corn. I take it directly out of the freezer and I put it in there. You don't need to thaw them out because they were thawed out in the cooking process. So obviously this is not going to be a traditional sloppy joe because I'm going to season this dish based on my experience. It's probably the best flavor for this particular type of dish to go with rice, because I'm going to season it with oyster sauce, which will give it a savory flavor, and I'm going to season it next with hoisin sauce. Now hoisin sauce will give it a sweet and fruity flavor, and in combination with the tomato, it provides really exquisite taste to the dish. So I did the final taste test to make sure everything tastes as I expected. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sauce. I'm going to thicken the sauce so they can mix well with rice. Now, before I mix the sauce, I'm going to let it just simmer for about 20 to 30 seconds. I'm going to use cornstarch to make the sauce. Cornstarch is the best probably ingredients for making a sauce quickly. And I'm going to sprinkle the cornstarch directly onto the surface of the ingredients. And at this point, it's important that you should mix up the cornstarch right away to prevent it from particularly matters. I have a video that discusses how to create a sauce in stir fry. So okay, now the dish is done. The total cook time is under 10 minutes. I transfer the contents onto a serving plate, and then I garnish the dish with some shredded carrot. Before Jack and his family return back to Texas, I invited them over and I cooked this dish for them. And actually, I let Jack do most of the cooking. And the kids just love it. So Jack was very hopeful that this dish will be something that the kid will enjoy when he got back home. So I explained to Jack that this dish is only a template because you can substitute many of the ingredients. For example, you can substitute green beans with, say, cauliflower. About a month later, I received a call from Jack, and I was quite surprised that he called me. He said he wanted to tell me directly of how well this dish has worked out for him and his family. He cooked this dish 2 or 3 times a week. The kids loved it. They actually request for it. But the nice thing, he said, that he was able to substitute different vegetables in the dish. So the end result is that he was able to introduce many new vegetables to his kids that they would otherwise would never touch. His explanation to me how he cooked this dish really is epitomized of my fast cooking system. He said he does flavor chasing because he will adjust the flavor of the dish to suit his children, his wife, and himself. By prepping in advance, he can add many different kinds of vegetables to the dish because they are all available to him right at his fingertips. Using stir frying, he will to cook the dish quickly, and it's become a very time-saving way. He can usually put a meal on the table now in about 15 minutes. And finally, by using the template-based cooking approach, he used this as a template and make adjustments and modifications depend on what he prefer or what his family prefer, and also what is available at the time. If you have children that are fussy eaters, and if you have other family members, adults who are fussy eaters, this dish may be a good way to introduce them to a different kind of vegetables. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and find it useful, please click the like icon below. This will help me to expand my audience. If you like to receive notification of my future video postings, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you next time.